7 hidden signs she slept with a lot of men. The truth you must know, psychology tricks. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou. Ever crossed paths with a woman who seems flawless, confident, charming, magnetic, yet your gut quietly taps the brakes? That feeling isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. People leak clues about their past without trying: habits, boundaries, the jokes they tell, the topics they dodge. Those signals often speak louder than any polished story. In this video, I'm breaking down 7 subtle signs a woman may have had many partners. This isn't about shaming anyone. It's about protecting your time, your energy, and your self-respect so you can choose a relationship that actually works for you. Pay special attention to sign 4. It's the most polished manipulation tactic I've seen in years of coaching men, and even seasoned guys miss it until the damage is done. Don't be that man. Learn the patterns now, and you won't have to learn the hard way later. Drop a comment with the moment you realized something was off in a past or current relationship. Your experience might save another man a world of hurt. If straight talk and psychology-backed insights help you, hit subscribe. Ready? Let's start with sign 1, ironically. It's the one most men mistake for a green light. Number 1. She's too comfortable with intimacy too soon. Don't underestimate how serious this is because it reveals more than you think. Picture this. You meet a woman, and before you've even finished your second cup of coffee together, she's already talking about physical closeness, like it's just another menu option. She leans forward, locks her eyes on yours, maybe drops a sly hint about her past, and suddenly you're thinking, wow, this woman is bold, confident, liberated, and she's definitely into me. Don't fall into that trap. That's not always confidence. It can be the erosion of emotional boundaries. A woman who truly values herself, who understands the depth of connection, has what I call a natural barrier, a pause, a sacred caution tape around intimacy. Not because she's shy or prudish, but because she recognizes the weight of it. She knows intimacy is not a handshake. It's not casual banter. It's something meant to build over time, layer upon layer of trust, vulnerability, and genuine emotional investment. When that barrier isn't there, don't mistake it for freedom. That's a red flag waving right in your face. It means the line has been crossed so many times that it no longer holds value. Think of a lock forced open over and over until it no longer protects anything. It just hangs there, broken and useless. That's what happens when repeated high-intensity encounters happen without any emotional foundation. The depth vanishes, the meaning evaporates, and intimacy turns into something robotic. It becomes mechanical, an action instead of a feeling. Now here's where psychology tricks really mess with men. You might see her glide through conversations about intimacy as if she's rehearsed it, and you think it's chemistry. Wrong. Chemistry has vulnerability. Chemistry has a spark of nervousness, a blush, a pause while she weighs what it means to reveal that part of herself. Pay attention to the signs. Does she hesitate, look down, or show the slightest flicker of shyness when intimacy comes up? Or does she act like it's a road she's walked 1,000 times, smooth, confident, and almost scripted? If it's the latter, you're not dealing with a spark. You're dealing with routine, with muscle memory. And that's dangerous because you might confuse her lack of modesty for deep connection. You'll think, wow, we've got this crazy spark. This must be fate. But the harsh reality is you're not experiencing fate. You're stepping into a script that's been played out before, and you're simply the newest actor in her show. The lines sound familiar to her because they are familiar. The timing, the rhythm, the practice touch, it's all been done before. That's the ugly truth. When intimacy loses its emotional weight, when it becomes routine, it's nearly impossible to bring back the magic of firsts. You can't recreate that sacred anticipation with someone who treats those moments like casual reruns. The buildup is gone. The tension evaporates. The rarity disappears. What you're left with is an imitation of connection, a bond thinner than you imagine because the essential glue, emotional exclusivity, is missing. Here's where female psychology sheds light. Women who truly value closeness understand that intimacy is part of how to fall in love, not just something you check off the list. They know that savoring the buildup, the little pauses, the nervous laughter, the subtle hesitations, all matter. That is the process of falling in love. That's how roots grow deep instead of shallow. But when those moments vanish, when she treats you like the hundredth time is no different from the first, you're not building anything lasting. You're just repeating cycles that already have no weight. You must see the difference. Don't confuse instant comfort with true connection. Don't mistake practice behavior for raw chemistry. Be aware, be cautious, and don't let your ego blind you. Just because she crosses the line quickly doesn't mean she's chosen you. It might mean the line itself doesn't even exist anymore. And if that's the case, you're stepping into a relationship missing the very heart of intimacy, its meaning. That is why you need to understand the psychology tricks at play, to recognize the patterns in female psychology, and to stop yourself from being seduced by routine disguised as romance. Because when it comes to how to fall in love and create something that lasts, you cannot afford to miss this warning. If you do, you'll find yourself chasing sparks that aren't real, clinging to a bond that was broken long before you showed up. And here's the truth: love without meaning is no love at all. Number 2. She carries a permanent emotional wall. Gentlemen, listen carefully. This one is tricky. It fools even the sharpest minds, even the men who pride themselves on reading people well. She looks warm. She laughs at your jokes. She leans in when you speak. She sprinkles in just enough vulnerability to make you think, wow, she's really opening up to me. But don't be deceived. What you're experiencing is a performance, not the real woman. A woman with a permanent emotional wall knows exactly how to make you feel close without ever letting you be close. That is the difference. The locked house metaphor. Think of it like this: she invites you to her house. You step inside, the lights are on, the furniture looks cozy. She offers you a drink, maybe even lets you sit on the couch. You think you're being welcomed in. But every door in that house, the ones that lead to the real stories, the heartbreaks, the fears, the dreams, those doors are locked. You can admire the hallway, but you will never step inside the rooms where she truly lives. And don't confuse this wall with healthy boundaries. Boundaries are good. They protect both of you as trust grows. But this is different. This is a fortress built brick by brick over years of loss, betrayal, and heartbreak. Every man before you has laid down a stone in that wall. How you spot it? At first, you won't notice. She's witty. She's engaging. She's fun. But when the conversation shifts toward depth, childhood wounds, fears about the future, moments that shaped her, she pivots. She'll joke. She'll change the subject. She'll offer cliches that sound like answers but reveal nothing. And you'll feel it in your gut. A subtle, nagging sense that something is missing. You're pouring out pieces of your story, your struggles, your victories, even your scars, hoping she'll meet you halfway. She'll nod. She'll smile. She might even mirror your emotions with compassion. But look closely. She's reacting, not reciprocating. The dangerous trap. Here's the danger. As a man, especially if you're a high-value man, you lead with your masculine energy. You share. You invest. You hope your openness inspires her trust. But with her, the well is capped. You can pour in gallons of sincerity, vulnerability, and time, yet the bucket never fills. This imbalance drains you. Slowly, quietly, until one morning, you wake up realizing you've been talking to a wall while convincing yourself it was a window. When conflict comes, and it always does, her wall doesn't just stay up, it gets higher. Instead of working through problems, she may shut down, vanish, or abruptly decide the relationship isn't working. Not because she's confused, but because for her, staying safe behind the fortress is easier than risking true intimacy. What this means for you: don't make excuses. Don't fall for the illusion. If months pass and you're still stuck in the shallow end of conversations, if intimacy feels like chasing a shadow, you must accept the truth. This is not about your worth. This is about her choice to remain locked away. And here's the kicker: you cannot tear down that wall for her. You cannot love her enough to make her trust. That's her work, not yours. So be wise. Protect your energy. A high-value man doesn't waste years trying to climb walls built from another man's betrayal. A high-value man invests in women who are capable of connection, women who can meet his masculine energy with feminine openness. That is how you attract women who truly want to build, not just perform. The final warning: don't ignore the signs. Don't romanticize the mystery. Don't convince yourself that patience will eventually earn you the keys to those locked doors. The truth? Some doors stay locked forever. And loving a woman who refuses to step out from behind her fortress is like hugging a statue. It looks like affection, but it never gives warmth back. Gentlemen, protect your hearts. Be discerning. That is the mark of a high-value man. Number 3. She has an overcrowded male network. Don't fall for the excuse of just friends. Yes, sometimes it's true, but when her phone never stops buzzing with men you've never met, when every story she tells somehow features yet another male friend, when midnight texts come in disguised as harmless, you are not witnessing coincidence. You are witnessing a pattern. Old Stoic wisdom reminds us a man is not upset by events, but by the view he takes of them, and your view must be sharp, decisive, and unclouded. A woman who surrounds herself with men, who keeps exes lingering, who clings to male best friends that openly desire her, is not just being friendly. She's feeding on validation, and validation is addictive. She is looping endlessly on "I'm wanted, I'm attractive, I'm relevant." That is the quiet drug, and once it enters her system, it is never satisfied. Don't dismiss this. Don't excuse it. Don't rationalize it. Male attention is her currency, and she will always keep the bank full. And here's the brutal truth: women with minimal female friendships often struggle with the reciprocity and emotional depth those relationships demand. So they chase the quicker, easier hit, male attention that flatters without accountability. Harmless men don't send "miss you" messages at 2 a.m. Harmless men don't pop up only when you're out of town. Harmless men don't wait like shadows, hoping for a promotion from friend to something more. Let's be clear, this is not about paranoia, it's about perception. This is not about insecurity, it's about reality. An iron mind accepts what is visible, not what is promised. She may believe she is loyal, she may even argue her loyalty, but in truth, she is keeping doors unlocked, escape routes open, backup plans alive. One relationship ends, and she doesn't rebuild, she replaces. She doesn't search anew, she promotes from within. That is not loyalty. That is not commitment. That is not what you want if you seek peace, stability, and genuine connection. Stoicism win comes from control, control over your own life, control over what you allow in, control over who earns a place in your circle. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Be master. Be decisive. Be unwilling to play in a game where the rules are stacked against you. Don't compete with a crowd you never agreed to race. Don't waste energy battling invisible rivals. Don't blind yourself to signs written in flashing neon. Modern life will try to convince you this is normal. It's just social media, they'll say. It's just networking. But understand this: repeated patterns are not random. Social media doesn't create validation loops, it magnifies them. The woman addicted to attention offline is the same woman addicted to likes, DMs, and constant digital praise online. And if you ignore this truth, you are signing yourself up for quiet wars, sleepless nights, and an endless sense of competing for what should already be yours. You must protect your peace. You must guard your time. You must demand exclusivity in spirit, not just in words. Because the foundation of trust cannot be laid in shifting sand. Don't tell yourself you can fix her. Don't pretend your love will change her. Don't gamble your future on the hope she will someday shut the doors she has left wide open. Remember Marcus Aurelius: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your power lies not in controlling her, but in controlling your standards. Raise them. Enforce them. Protect them. In a world filled with illusions, a man with an iron mind sees clearly, acts boldly, and never apologizes for walking away from instability. That is victory. That is strength. That is the path forward. And if you ever doubt it, repeat this: Old Stoic wisdom does not lie. Stoicism belongs to the disciplined. The iron mind never bends to illusion. The iron mind never bargains with chaos. The iron mind wins. Always. If you found this insight valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. Your support helps us keep bringing you the psychology behind relationships and human behavior. To lock this lesson in, drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose trust and authenticity in relationships. Number 4, she uses intimacy as currency. And that's where the danger lies, not only because it's manipulative, but because it slips past you so easily that by the time you notice, you're already emotionally invested and financially paying. You believe you're sharing genuine closeness, but in reality, you've stepped into a transaction. Don't confuse her soft touch for love. It's a business deal cloaked in desire. That is why you must learn these psychology tricks if you want to understand female psychology and protect yourself from a dynamic that turns love into negotiation. Here's how it unfolds. Things get tense between you. Maybe you disagreed on something. Maybe you told her no, or maybe she was caught twisting the truth. Suddenly, her body language flips. She softens, she leans in, her tone sweetens, her hands or her gaze become magnetic, even seductive. And just like that, the storm clears, your frustration melts, and you feel as though connection has returned. Problem solved, right? Wrong. The problem hasn't been solved. It's just been paid off with intimacy. That is a dangerous psychology trick because it rewires your brain to associate surrender with reward, turning you into a loyal customer without realizing the contract you've signed. On the other hand, when she's upset or wants control, she withholds intimacy immediately. Not out of genuine disinterest, not because she needs space, but because she knows you'll squirm when deprived. It's punishment dressed up as boundaries. Don't be fooled. She has learned that your craving for closeness can be weaponized to get an apology, a favor, or even your silence. That is not natural intuition. It's a strategy, carefully built after years of short, high turnover relationships where she discovered which tools work quickest to bend a man's will. Women who have cycled through multiple flings often perfect this art, the art of timing. Intimacy for them is not love, it's leverage. They have seen firsthand that nothing gets a man back in line faster than the push and pull of physical closeness. It strikes at your biology, your emotions, and your ego all at once. And you must pay attention to the timing if you want to spot it. Does her affection always arrive right after you've given in to her wishes? Does it vanish precisely when you resist? If the timing feels too sharp to be coincidence, it's probably calculated. Don't excuse it. Don't romanticize it. When intimacy becomes currency, love becomes business, and in that business you are not a partner. You are the client, and she's running the show. She knows how to fall in love is less important to her than how to make you believe you're in love while she pulls the strings. And this is where you need to be clear. True love is spontaneous. It breathes on its own. It doesn't require perfect timing like a stage performance. Real affection doesn't appear right after conflict like a payment plan, and it doesn't vanish like a penalty fee when she's displeased. If it does, you're not in a relationship, you're in a marketplace of emotions, buying temporary peace with your compliance. Don't play that game. Be smart enough to recognize the difference between authentic closeness and manipulative currency. Learn the psychology tricks, dive deep into female psychology, and see how to fall in love the right way with someone who gives freely, not trades cleverly. Because make no mistake, once intimacy is turned into a weapon, your heart becomes collateral, your dignity becomes the price, and your so-called partner transforms you from a man in love to a man on lease. And trust me, that lease is expensive, and the renewal terms are always in her favor. Be aware, be strong, and don't let your need for closeness blind you to the truth. Number 5. She has mastered the art of reading and controlling men. There's a difference between a woman who understands men and a woman who studies them. The first is natural. She's intuitive, empathetic. She notices things because she genuinely cares. That's a gift. The second? That's deliberate. That's training. That's the result of years of testing, failing, experimenting with different men like she's running her own private lab on male behavior. She doesn't just see patterns, she uses them. And now she knows exactly which buttons to press and when. At first, it feels incredible. She compliments you right where your ego lives. She notices the way you hold yourself, the way you take charge, the ambition in your stride. She makes you feel like the only man in the room who truly matters. And because you're a man who values masculine energy and wants to attract women naturally, this feels like destiny. But pause. That instant chemistry, that soulmate level understanding, be cautious. Genuine connection grows over time. Real love takes seasons, not seconds. If you feel like she knows you too well, too quickly, it's not magic, it's measurement. She's already mapped you out, the map of your mind. She can spot your strengths faster than your best friend. But here's the kicker, she can also spot your insecurities even faster. She knows what makes you puff up with pride. She knows what makes you shrink. Once she has that mental blueprint, she can play you like a violin. When she wants you closer, she feeds your pride. When she wants you unstable, she presses on your fears. One minute you're her hero. The next, you're doubting yourself and chasing her approval. That's not romance, it's a power game. The subtle trap. Don't think of control as chains or shouting matches. No, her style is smoother than that. She shapes your emotions like a sculptor with clay. Sweet one day, distant the next. Praise in the morning, silence at night. Every move is intentional. Every reaction calculated. And here's the scary truth. Most men mistake this for passion. They confuse the highs and lows of manipulation with the fire of a deep connection. The highs? Addictive. The lows? Torture. And that push and pull cycle becomes your drug. That's not love. That's conditioning. Why smart men fall? You may be a high-value man, strong and successful, but don't think you're immune. The sharper the mind, the sweeter the challenge for her. In fact, the more masculine energy you project, the more she enjoys showing that she can bend it. You start to crave her reassurance like oxygen. You start second-guessing yourself even in areas you once dominated. And that's exactly where she wants you, off balance, yet hooked. The hard truth. If you feel like every emotion in your relationship is being managed, it's because it is. Once you see the strings, you can't unsee them. And when that curtain gets pulled back, you face a choice. Option 1, keep dancing for her approval, hoping the highs outweigh the lows. Spoiler alert, they won't. Option 2, step back. Reclaim your frame. Reclaim the control she's been holding all along. The lesson for men. Don't confuse manipulation with love. Don't confuse volatility with depth. Be aware of the difference between a woman who admires your masculine energy and one who exploits it. That awareness alone protects you. A high-value man doesn't allow himself to be conditioned. He sets the rhythm. He keeps the frame. He knows that a real relationship strengthens him. It doesn't weaken him. So be alert. Be honest with yourself. If her patterns feel too perfect, too scripted, too designed to hook you, it's because they probably are. And the moment you recognize that truth, you're already free. If this opened your eyes, hit like, share it with someone who needs the truth, and subscribe for more insights. Comment to remember, real love is freedom, not manipulation. Number 6, she has no shame or discretion about her past. Let's cut through the noise and speak plainly. When a woman has no filter about her history, when she speaks of her intimate past as if she's narrating a casual anecdote at a dinner party, it is not harmless transparency. It is a loud signal about how she views intimacy itself. Intimacy, in its truest form, is sacred, rare, and private. When it's treated as common, as disposable, as just another story to fill silence, its value collapses. Old Stoic wisdom reminds us, he who is everywhere is nowhere. If everything is shared, then nothing has weight. If everything is public, then nothing is sacred. A woman who recounts past lovers without hesitation, who throws around numbers as if bragging points, who sprinkles her stories with vivid details not to confess, but to perform, is showing you something crucial. Intimacy has been repeated so often that it no longer holds the rarity that makes it meaningful. And what has no rarity has no sacredness. That is the truth you must confront. That is the line you must draw. Pay attention to how she responds when questioned. Does she dismiss your concern as insecurity? Does she flip it back on you, mocking tradition, ridiculing discretion? treating your questions as outdated, that is not strength. That is not modern empowerment. That is defense through deflection, the unwillingness to face that her choices carry consequences. You must see this clearly. You must train your perception like a warrior sharpens his blade. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is where an iron mind must step forward. Don't let smooth words or modern slogans blind you. The way she treats her past is the way she may treat her present. If privacy has no weight, then your secrets, your trust, your bond may one day be placed on the same stage as her past confessions, public, trivial, disposable. The line between private and public will not exist. And when that line is gone, respect will not survive. Look deeper into modern life, and you'll see this everywhere. Social media glorifies oversharing, reality television rewards those who expose the most, and society applauds the absence of shame as confidence. But don't be deceived. Confidence without boundaries is chaos. Honesty without discretion is recklessness. And intimacy without sacredness is emptiness. That's why Old Stoic wisdom still holds power in our time. The Stoics won by choosing restraint over indulgence, silence over noise, mastery over chaos. A Stoicism win means you do not fall for what is flashy, you stand firm on what is eternal. Seneca declared, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Apply this truth. A woman who constantly recounts her past craves validation from the telling, not from the living. She seeks significance through stories, not through silence. And in that craving, she exposes a void. Don't step into that void thinking you will fill it. Don't think you will be different. You won't. Remember, intimacy is not measured by numbers, it is measured by reverence. A woman who guards her story, who honors the weight of connection, who treats her bond with you as something unique, is a woman who understands what sacred means. That is strength. That is value. That is the kind of woman who builds rather than erodes. On the other hand, if she sees nothing wrong with spreading her private history like a casual highlight reel, then understand this. You are not the prize, you are just the next chapter. And if you ignore this truth, you do so at your own expense. Don't allow yourself to become another story told without weight, without reverence, without honor. You must expect more. You must demand more. You must guard your worth like a soldier defends a fortress. Modern man must reclaim the lost art of discernment. Don't be swept up by the culture that tells you boundaries are outdated. Boundaries are strength. Boundaries are protection. Boundaries are respect. Build an iron mind that cannot be seduced by normalization. Build an iron mind that sees through the noise. Build an iron mind that chooses truth over comfort. Because comfort will deceive you, but truth will free you. Don't let her lack of discretion become your downfall. Let it be your awakening. Let it sharpen your judgment. Let it remind you that real value lies not in what is broadcast, but in what is guarded. In the end, discretion is not about hiding, it is about honoring. To honor intimacy is to treat it as rare, as sacred, as something that deserves respect. If she cannot honor her past, she will not honor you. That is not cynicism. That is clarity. That is reality. And that is the lesson you must carry with you if you want to master life, if you want to stand tall, if you want to achieve the victory of living with dignity, strength, and unshakable wisdom. Choose wisely. Choose firmly. Choose like a man guided by Old Stoic wisdom, armed with an iron mind, determined for the Stoicism win that comes from discipline, mastery, and truth. That is the way. That is the path. And that is how you win. Number 7, she has a history of short-term relationships. First glance, you might brush it off like it's nothing. After all, people date, things fizzle, life moves on, right? Don't be fooled. When it's just one or two times, that's life. But when it becomes a pattern, a string of romances that burn like fireworks and vanish just as fast, that's not coincidence. That's a blueprint of behavior. In female psychology, patterns tell you more truth than words ever will. Each time it plays out the same way. Instant spark, rapid escalation, endless texts, intense attraction, and then, boom, the collapse, like clockwork. She'll tell you the breakups were mutual or that it just wasn't meant to be. She'll blame timing, distance, or the other guy's flaws. But pay attention. What she won't admit is her own inability or unwillingness to stay past the honeymoon high and face the real work of love. And here's the truth men often miss. Long-term relationships aren't built in that thrilling early stage when everything feels perfect. They're forged in the storm, in the boredom, in the arguments that test patience, in the uncomfortable moments when the novelty fades and commitment requires grit. That's where depth is born. If she's never stuck around long enough to face those storms, then she hasn't developed the tools to handle them. That is why this pattern is not harmless. It's a giant red flag waving in your face. What you're seeing is not bad luck. It's psychology tricks at play. She craves the dopamine rush of being wanted, the butterflies of new attraction, the constant thrill of a man chasing her. It's addictive, and like any addiction, the crash comes hard, and when it does, she runs, looking for the next fix. Be honest with yourself. Lasting love is built on stability, and stability doesn't give the same high as novelty. But that's the price of building something real. If she's addicted to the high, stability feels like withdrawal. And that, my friend, is why you must pay attention not just to her stories, but to her track record. Don't rely on how she explains her past. Rely on what the facts reveal. Ask questions. Probe deeper. If every single relationship she's had crumbled before the 6-month mark, that's not a streak of bad luck, it's evidence. It's not about her never meeting the right man. It's about her never learning how to stay with him once the fire turns into steady warmth. That is the kind of female psychology most men overlook because they want to believe they'll be the exception. But don't let attraction blind you. Don't assume your love will rewrite her patterns. Patterns don't change for you. They change only when she decides to face herself, and that's rare. If her history is built on running, your future with her will likely end with you being the next chapter she closes and forgets. And when you zoom out, when you connect all 7 signs, the bigger picture becomes undeniable. It's not about shaming her or condemning her past. It's about recognizing that her history is her teacher, and it has taught her habits she may never unlearn. A lack of emotional barriers, permanent emotional walls, constant hunger for male attention, weaponized intimacy, calculated manipulation, disregard for discretion, and yes, a history of short-term relationships. These are not scattered quirks. They're the footprints of her journey. And those footprints show you the road she's walking, and unless you wake up, that road may lead you straight into heartbreak. Too many men ignore the warnings because they're blinded by desire, convinced they'll be the one to change her. But don't gamble your heart on psychology tricks disguised as love. Don't think you'll outsmart a pattern that's been repeated for years. Be wise, be alert. You must understand that female psychology doesn't lie. It reveals itself in behavior, not words. And when you know these truths, you finally hold the key to how to fall in love wisely, without setting yourself up for disaster. The reality is sharp. She may be fun, exciting, irresistible, but if her past is one long carousel of short-lived romances, you're not stepping into love, you're stepping into the ride she never gets off. If you're paying attention, you'll see exactly where they go, and you can decide if that's a road you're willing to walk. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share the signs you've recognized, because another man might be living them right now without realizing it. And if you want to keep sharpening your instincts, subscribe so you don't miss the conversations that will keep you 2 steps ahead. Your standards are not negotiable. Protect them like your future depends on it, because it does. All right, brother, that's it for today. Remember, life is too short to waste on people who don't respect your worth. Keep your eyes open, your standards firm, and your heart focused on the future you deserve. See you in the next video. Stay sharp, stay strong, and don't ever settle.